Hello beautiful people, welcome and welcome back to Molly-Moe's YouTube channel. So in today's video guys, I am going to talk about the things that are important for someone who is moving back to Zimbabwe from a developed country.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
I am in Zimbabwe right now, and I've just come back from China. I've been here for 3 weeks, and there are things that I've realized that without these things life will be difficult, and without some of these things my life have been difficult. So right now I am in the Avenues area, and I'm going to talk about transport. You really need a car. Buy a car when you are coming back to Zimbabwe, or if you're not staying for a long period but you're staying for maybe a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you really need to rent a car. I don't have a car, but I have errands to run, I have people to meet, I have to see relatives and friends, and I have to wait for my brother and my sister-in-law for them to accompany me where I want to go. And if I don't have these things, I am using public transport. And it's so unfortunate that public transport is not as convenient as it is in developed countries, like for instance in my case China, where I have been living. And right now I came from town, I'm in the Avenues area, I'm going somewhere. The combi dropped me where it dropped me, and I have walked. And to my surprise, I just came from home, got into town, now Avenues, and my sports watch is telling me that you have reached 6,000 steps. I didn't put any effort, honestly speaking, like what I do when I am in China. So if you are someone who is very time conscious, you really need a car for you to move from point A to point B, because public transport is very problematic. The other time I got into town and there were no combis or commuter or minibuses from town to Chitungwiza, where my mother stayed. We had to walk to go outside town for us to look for transport. So yeah, you really need a car. That's point number one. Then the other thing that you really need when you are moving back to Zimbabwe is someone who can guide you, someone whom you trust, because the money system, the economic system is so confusing. Like, we use Zim dollars, they are called bond notes, and there's Eco Cash, there's Zipit, there's US dollars. So you really need someone whom you can trust so that you get value for your money, because those money changers, if they see that you haven't been here for quite some time, they will trick you and steal from you. Then the other essential thing that you really need is, okay, see, this is where I'm walking, guys, look. Then one of the most important things when you are moving back to Zimbabwe is a place to live. Most of the places, honestly speaking, they are not that good if they are rental in, let's say, Avenues or what. So you really need a place to stay. Buy your home, a nice home, and have the standards that you really love. Here we just lit this fire to heat the water for bathing in. So my point is, when you come back to Zimbabwe, you really need energy backup, because today when we woke up, the electricity was gone. There was no electricity, so you definitely need power supply or power backup, like a solar system or a generator. Here at my mother's house, she does has a generator, but it's for lighting and pumping water into the tank from the borehole. So when you are coming back to Zimbabwe, make sure that you have a power supply, okay, that a backup, maybe a solar system that is good enough to power all your gadgets and all your appliances, and maybe a generator, yeah, and maybe a gas stove here. My mom also has a very big gas stove for cooking inside the house and baking, and there's no electricity. Then, like I showed you, here there's a borehole at my mother's house. She does has a borehole and a big water tank that collects the water. So when you're coming back to Zimbabwe, water is a problem. The water supply authority does not supply the water on a daily basis, and in some areas there isn't any supply, so you need a borehole or a well for water for you to use. So here we also sell some water to other people who does not have boreholes or wells at their homes. So you don't need to have such expenses like daily. It's good for you to just have the bowl of your own and your water tank. Some people do not have bowls and wells, they just have a water tank, a big water tank. When the water supply authority supplies water, they just fill the tank and they use that water when there is no supply. So yeah. So before moving to Zimbabwe, or when you have just moved to Zimbabwe, or when you are living in Zimbabwe, I've discovered that something that makes your life easy is buying your groceries in bulk. Going to wholesales will lighten your burden of economically, because buying in bulk in Zimbabwe is cheaper. You know, buying a carton of rice, a carton of sugar, a box of cooking oil, a box of yogurt for your kids, a box of milk, everything in bulk. It's quite cheap, because you know, when you go to those wholesales, you will be together with those people who have tuck shops or small shops in town or in your neighborhood. So why not do it yourself? My mother actually taught me this even before I moved out of Zimbabwe. She's always bought things in bulk, and these have proved to be cheaper and quite helpful. So you can use this to make your life easy. Buy things in bulk, buy things where the wholesalers are selling, and this will lift a burden on you. Even try to grow your own food, your own vegetables, your own chickens. If you have a rural home, your own goats, even fattening your own cattle. Yeah. So the last thing that I'm going to talk about in this video, guys, which is one of the most important things, actually, which might be the reason why you left Zimbabwe in the first place, is finding something to do. You left Zimbabwe because you were looking for better opportunities, for greener pastures outside Zimbabwe, but you want to come back to Zimbabwe for one or the other reason. Make sure that you are economically stable, or you have something that you are doing in Zimbabwe. Finding a formal job in Zimbabwe is not easy, and when you manage to find the jobs are not that paying. As they pay as low as $100 to $300 US. Okay, so most people who are formally employed, I discovered that they do have side hustles. Some they have chickens, some they buy and resell something online, some they have shops, some they have clothes, someone manufactures or makes sausages. Someone is into farming, they go farming, they go to work, and during the weekend they go to their farm, they manage the farm, something like that. So you really need to have a plan before moving to Zimbabwe. living in Zimbabwe is a skill on its own, guys, because today you wake up, the rate of RTGS to bond to US dollars is different from yesterday. You need to look for someone who is going to change it for you. You need to, it's difficult, so you need to have a plan before moving to Zimbabwe. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and you have found it useful, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.